Hey, get inspired, everybody. I'm Diane Bennett, and you are watching Life Inspired, the show where people are talking about turning points. Life was going along, and ... God stepped in and turned your trajectory. So you're walking an inspired life. You can watch this program on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, or on lifeinspiredshow.com. And we so greatly appreciate you liking and subscribing. That really helps more people hear all these stories about how and why people are following God. So if you've never tuned in before, you may have missed John Meiser because this is his second time on the show. John Meiser is my very dear friend. I knew you first from Rotary when you were still in the payroll industry, right, John?
Absolutely, the old corporate world consulting. Awesome.
That's right. And I so appreciate you doing this with me remotely. I'm back on the couch. We had a few weeks off that I had to be remote because of people that had exposures to COVID and stuff like that. But I'm in the studio, but you're on Zoom, safe, socially distanced, way down in Culver, right?
I am. It's very odd to not be there with you because I'm a hugger and just to give you a hug and hang out
No
and
hugs.
but we're being responsible and social distancing. So yes, I'm in Culver and I'm grateful to be here for a second time.
Absolutely. So you got a new turning point to tell us about. So set us up. Give me a little backstory. What's the life before this new ...
Yeah, so the last time that I was on, which was about 2 or 3 years ago, I had just assumed the
Has
role
it been
of,
that
I was
long?
just stepping, yeah, I was
Wow.
stepping off of the Granger Community Church staff. God, opened that door and allowed me to be on that staff for about 4.5 years. And when I was stepping off of that staff, God was making it clear that, okay, now you're ready for something else.
Right.
And to be honest with you, back then, I didn't share this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, is I thought I was stepping off the staff. And my heart is India. And so at
Yeah.
Granger, I was responsible for overseeing our mission effort in India, planting churches, and with my dear friend Raj and Prema. And I thought that's what I was going to do. I was going to join their staff and continue advancing the kingdom in India. It seems like the best return on investment. There's 1.4 billion people, 1.3 billion that don't know Jesus. Well, actually, 1.38 billion that don't know Jesus. So
Wow.
I thought I'd just do that, and and uh, and that's when Hannah's House called. Out of the blue, they didn't know I was leaving church. I didn't even know what Hannah's House was. I thought it was Charlie Weiss's thing called Hannah and Friends. And through that week,
Not Hannah
they
and
offered
Friends.
me the
Great
job.
organization. Totally different organization.
Totally different, yeah. And
Yeah.
so when they offered me the position on the Monday evening before I walked into church to teach a class, I really didn't. I thought they like I'm a guy. Hannah's House works with women who are pregnant and facing homelessness. Like I'm a guy. Like they've never hired a guy, and they want me to be the executive director. So I thought they'd come to their senses, but then they offered me the job, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I thought I was going to go do this. So all week when I was praying, um, I put them off till Friday and met with Bill Killalay, who's since passed, but he was the president of the board, and I really went to Panera to talk to him about these questions I had to tell him no. And I did the whole Moses thing,
Right.
like I can't, I don't want to, I'm not positioned to do that. Finally, I just said I'm not doing it, and I called my wife Julie on the way home after saying yes, and because I knew that God knew that He was telling me to do Hannah's House, and so I
Right.
said yes, and so 2 years later, that's what I did. I mean, I did that for a couple years.
Right. But then now he has tapped you on the shoulder and said, okay, you're done. You set him up, you did what I wanted you to do there, and now you're done, and now you can go do India. So how did you hear, what does that sound like? How did you hear him say that?
Well, I knew that I wasn't, and I hoped that my remaining years of work in the workforce wasn't going to be Hannah's House, even though I loved it. Um, but as I look back now, why I needed to go, like why God was calling me there, we reinserted Jesus is what we do. We moved from social service model to ministry model. So Jesus was at the center of everything we did. We rewrote the curriculum. We hired some new staff, and the current staff, one of which is being my wife, and then one of which my dear friend Susan Frucci, who's now the executive director. if you read their purpose statements, you would think that they wrote them because they work at Hannah's house. No, they were written well before that. And so their purpose is what they're doing now. And if I hadn't answered and said yes to, now God can do whatever he's going to do. I'm not claiming that I take no credit except for being obedient, saying yes. But his plan was to have Susan and Julie there and the staff there that it's currently doing the job. And so that's why I think he was so persistent on, I need you to go do this. And so I've always had this, I always stayed in contact with Mission India because I really did feel like it was a temporary, it's kind of like a detour before I got back on, on what I was called to do. And I went in February with my wife to a wedding in India for our dear friend Bruce, who's Raj's son. So we went on our own to the wedding. And when I was there, God was really working on me, similar to how he's working on me back in the Hannah's house days of, okay, like, when I'm almost done with you here. What about India now? And so when I got back, he's certainly working on me in India. And when I got back, and then in May, end of April, May, I watched this video because Julie and I support Mission India financially. We have for a couple of years. We watched this video. They, of course, had a virtual sort of seminar or conference, for people who partner with them. And we were sitting on the couch, and I had a couple of tears running down my face, and I didn't even know I had tears running down my face. And Julie kind of looked at me, and she said, "It's time, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Huh?" And so I texted the president of Mission India that day, and the VP of the vice president of development, and said, "I'm going to need a few more months. We're in the middle of a pandemic, but I think I'm about ready to if you still would like me to come on, I think I'm about ready, and I just need to hire a couple more positions and get a couple more things done, but I'm ready to explore that again." So May, I submitted my resignation.
And they said yay.
Yeah, they said yay, and let's continue the conversation. It wasn't okay, let's do this now. So over the next month, we processed through, and I knew that my time at Hannah's house was coming to an end, so I didn't actually have a job when I submitted my resignation, because I've always believed in this, like, if you're not all in, then you should be out. And I wasn't at that point all in because I was considering making a change. And so I let our board president know that I'm going to be stepping off, and I gave them, that this was May. I worked through June or July, and actually through August, beginning of August, and started with Mission India in mid-August. So it's been amazing.
So I just got to say, because the whole time you're telling your story, these thoughts are going through my head, right? God is just like a diamond, and there's so many different facets to the light, right? And so I totally 1,000% agree with you that you were supposed to be there because they needed the gifts that you had to get them to where they are, and to make the connections for Julie and Susan to be there now too, and all of that. But I totally think that your time at Hannah's house was also supposed to help Mission India. The things that you learned about the way you did things at Hannah's house. I mean, look at India and how much infanticide goes on with all that stuff. I know our friend Dan Blacketer with the REMA project and all that he does. I just feel like there's got to be something that was also input into you that you maybe haven't tapped into yet. You know what I mean? You don't really know what it is, but you're going to go, oh, that's why I needed that. I want to hear that story when it comes, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously the sanctity of life has always been important, and ever since I committed my life to Jesus, then there's really no other direction other than the sanctity of life, and but I've never. I'm just being honest with you. I've never met someone who had an abortion. We've never as a family considered abortion. But at Hannah's house, I actually got to meet women who literally were there on Tuesday and they're having an abortion scheduled for Friday. And to see the hope found in Jesus, really, through Hannah's house, they chose to to have their child. And I just think like, what would that, I mean, who, maybe this child's the next Rick Warren or the next, Peyton Manning or the next, president
Right.
of the United States. And so to have a front row seat of that it has been pretty amazing.
Right. That's very cool. Very,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I thank you for sharing. I know there's a lot of you guys watching that would probably love to have coffee or a Zoom or something like that with John, and he would totally do that, right, John?
Absolutely. Yeah. Mission India is we partner with anybody. I mean, they're a very kingdom minded organization. So my role now is I work with partners, and we do three things. We plant churches. Really, we do one thing. We plant churches, and then we do church planter training, children's Bible clubs, and adult literacy classes, which all are in essence planting a church. And our mission is to reach the whole country of India. And so John DeVries, who just passed away on Sunday, who was our founder, for
Wow.
40 years, he went to India, and I think he came home and was like, never again. I know that feeling. The first time I went to India, I'm like, oh, I don't have to go there anytime soon. But God gets a hold of you, and got a hold of him, thank God. And and I just think of the welcome that he received on Sunday when he went home to be with the Lord. Like, millions of people's eternities were changed because of this man. So, and his faithfulness.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. If you know somebody that needs to hear John's story, you can share it from the YouTube, the Facebook, or the lifeinspiredshow.com. And if you know somebody that needs to tell their story, message us those things. We'd love to tell stories about how and why people are following God. So thanks for watching. You guys have a great week. Bye-bye.